I'd like to just give you a moment to talk about your new book, because this is something that's very exciting. There it is, Chinese Medicine Liberation, um, and I had an opportunity to go through a friend's copy and just start looking through the documents. I've yet to order it myself, but it's on the list. And I'd also like to note for people who may be watching this on YouTube, Dr. Seidman has put up on his website um, 3 sample documents that were not a part of this book. But the gist of what he's done, for those of you who might be interested in the book, is he has documented the influence and of biomedicine on Chinese medicine and the subsequent debates that took place in China to form TCM as is currently being taught in both China and in most U.S. institutions. So he's offering evidence. We often hear people say, well, TCM was a modern invention that came out of the People's Republic of China, and that's what TCM is. But Dr. Seidman in this book actually provides detailed documentation of how that process took place. So I'm wondering if you could just share a little bit about why you chose to undertake this project.
Well, the answer is very simple, and that's the same answer to if you would ask me why do I explain the Liu Jing the way I explain and keep on researching it and try to find what I believe at least is more accurate and more truthful kind of information, is that at the end when we deal with medicine, it's it's as simple as there's one person sitting in front of me and I better know what I'm doing. If I do something wrong and I hurt them, even if it's just a little bit, they don't even know. It just hurt them many years later. It's not really something right now. Like if you hurt someone bad, they come right back at you. So people are normally scared of that. Even Western doctors, they all have like liability insurance. You definitely don't want to hurt someone really bad immediately. But I believe that also if we do something that looks good, but actually have a very long-term negative effect, in the eyes of heaven, if I were to be more religious, this carries as an offense. In other words, in simple English, I'm going to hell at the end of the day. So I feel when someone trusts in me to treat them, they come with me with their health, with their life, said, look, I need help, can you help me? I find there's great responsibility. So this whole research about what happened to Chinese medicine is really not to prove anybody right or wrong, it's to try to find out more truthful what really happens. Should it be? Is it good? Is it bad? It's not like, and I did have preconceived notion before I started the project. Some of them proved false. Other, I found new things that I didn't think exist. So it wasn't like all, predetermined assault and I just know what I'm to choose, what I want to satisfy the assault. But rather I want to find the truth and then to see what's useful. And actually, it made me much milder in my approach. At the beginning, I did TCM, I wasn't satisfied. Then I realized the same thing that you just described. Like, it's not the real deal. There's other real deal of more classical approach, more this. And I went into that school for a long time, dug quite deep into that classical notions. And I was very happy until I also start getting a little unsettled there because, many people say, look, Yang Ming disease is this and that. And I would ask people, very famous people that supposed to know Shang Hanlong, so what is Yang Ming? There's no really answer. They said it's a bright yang. What the hell is bright yang? Like, what is it? Or what are we practicing? I don't know what I'm practicing. So I got a lot of dissatisfaction with that. And so I had this, extreme attitude. Either this is not right, this has to be right, and that kind of thing. When I did this project, which took about 3 years, and there were many people helping me, it's not really just me, it's like a big group of people. just this morning I thought to make a collage of pictures, get pictures from everybody. You see like a big group of people, of all kind of people contributing things. I realized that, first of all, the making of TCM didn't start with communist China. It's definitely a trend that started in the 20th century in the Republic with the scientification of the medicine. But there were twists and turns, whereas in the first half of the 20th century, really the only objective was to survive in the confrontation with science. So the way that they start to manipulate it in the 1920s and 30s was to fit that situation. They were on the brink of extinction, physically on legal extinction, like was about to be outlawed on several occasions. So many, and at the time, you know, modern medicine was a very small group, and Chinese medicine was a huge group, like 500,000 practitioners all over China. So there was no healthcare. There were all kinds of reasons to maintain the medicine. What? Where are you? I don't know. My dog is crying around me. Hey, just be quiet. So in any case, in the first half of the 20th century, you had these reasons. There were the reason why to craft Chinese medicine to allow it to survive against science, in order to provide healthcare to a massive population where Western medicine was scarcely available, just in Shanghai and the big cities and so forth. Coming to the communist era, start to be different kinds of manipulation, meaning the Western medicine by the evil Westerners was not then the best thing anymore, like because the Westerners are now the evil for the communists and all that kind of thing. Chinese medicine is our own, it's like our national essence and so forth. All kind of political struggles between the Ministry of Health and the central Politburo, or the Mao base of force, political force, start struggling with the department or the Ministry of Health, so they use Chinese medicine to fight with each other, etc., etc. All kind of agendas incorporating the ideology of communism, Marxism, material dialectics. And then they started a different kind of selection process. This is what I call in the book some selection, quote unquote some, meaning some people always selected some of the content of Chinese medicine for some reason. And every time it was different. In the Republic was, even though there's one trend of changing the medicine, but to survive in the 30s and 20s and 30s, they had a different reason to select it. In the communist era, they had different reason to select it. Also to provide massive health care to the peasant workers and soldiers, but also to incorporate the ideology, also make their own treasure, like we're better than the West, better than America, we have this, they don't have it, all kind of other agendas. And it made me actually much milder, meaning much less against TCM. It's like I realized all of a sudden that people use Chinese medicine, and probably throughout the history was the same. In the Song Dynasty, in the Han Dynasty, they always kind of twisted it according to whatever the needs were. And I actually don't think it was a bad thing. Meaning it was very good for the communists to use it to, I don't know, parade their communism. For the Chinese medicine practitioners in the Republic to save the Chinese medicine from being abolished. It was good that they became scientific and only learned anatomy all day long with very little Chinese medicine. Fine. I'm just thinking, what is the useful and the good thing for us to do in the 21st century? This is what the real lesson that I learned from the entire book. It's like today, Western medicine is in control. It's not like the 1930s, where there's not enough Western medicine doctors. They are literally in control of the healthcare system. Today, we have this interconnectedness in the entire world. Me and you in California, I'm on the East Coast, immediately can talk to each other. It's not maybe like this isolation thing in communist era with all kind of political agendas for Chinese medicine. Maybe now political agendas are good for Western medicine. That's why they use it for all kind of purposes. But I feel today, the good objective that we can have in Chinese medicine, this is what I learned from me doing this project in the last 3 years, is to realize that Chinese medicine now, more than ever, needs to have its own unique principle, understanding life and how to heal people, because patients now come to us not because there's not enough Western medicine. They come to us because they had enough of Western medicine. It doesn't work for them. They don't like the drugs. They don't like the side effect. So we can't keep on developing our medicine like in the 1930s and 50s, meaning just try to be more like Western medicine. This was good in the 30s and 50s and 60s, as I said, for different reasons. Now we need to develop our medicine in such a way that people have an alternative to the regular materialistic view of healthcare. This is what can make our medicine unique. This weekend I'm going to this IF symposium in Vancouver, and I try to present to them as much as I can what is my idea of integration. Integration means that our medicine is going to be able to bring something unique that Western medicine doesn't have to the table. Then Western medicine can consider it. This is called integration. It's not really just try to learn them and become more and more Western-like doctors, which happens in the 30s, or become more and more efficacy is the only thing that counts, which is more the communist approach to Chinese medicine. All the theory, everything was nonsense. Only that it looks like the formulas in acupuncture works, that's what makes it valuable. Just know in the communist era, many of the theories were later on back introduced to fit with material dialectics, yin yang and the such. But really the main core of them, of their idea of Chinese medicine is, look, we don't have enough healthcare for the masses, but Chinese medicine seems to be effective. So that's what many people that practice today TCM, they don't even know, but that's how they think. We don't really know yin, yang, what does it mean, life, this story, who cares? You put needles, it looks like it's not painful anymore. That becomes the ultimate of. I think in the 21st century, Chinese medicine can progress, can contribute to society, can make something that in the 20th century, the things that happen to it are not really needed anymore. To become more like Western doctors. You know, in the 1920s, there were many arguments and they were saying, Chinese medicine doctors, they are so ignorant of Western anatomy, they don't really know that there are two lungs and whatever, I don't know what. But today, it's not like that. Everybody that go to TCM school, I don't know if there's anybody that don't know their lungs and heart and stomach, where they are. You know, but the only question is, many people that think progressing Chinese medicine is becoming it more scientific, like Western medicine materialistic, but actually they don't realize the only thing they do is what the communists initially planned for Chinese medicine, to take or help healthcare until it's going to be assimilated and disappear by assimilation. This, I don't think, is a good future for Chinese medicine. So this is what I learned from this project and what I try to compile so other people can see and decide for themselves whatever they want.
Thank you. It's a valuable perspective, and it's great. I appreciate your work and everyone else who works on the project with you, because it provides historical context. So whichever way we decide to evolve the medicine, or help the medicine evolve, whatever that terminology may mean, we can at least be aware of how the medicine has already evolved. One of the main things to understand is that the Chinese have worked on this idea for nearly a century now. They've worked to make a more scientific version of Chinese medicine. They've worked to do what we might now call evidence-based medicine. And so I appreciate your text so much for bringing those documents in, so people who don't have access to them, don't read Chinese, can look at your book and say, oh, I didn't know that. It looks like they've already tried a lot of these things that we're trying in the West now. Maybe instead of reinventing the wheel, we can look at what happened in China, look at TCM, and then move forward with that knowledge and help the medicine evolve in a more perhaps appropriate way for the 21st century.
Yeah, I think it's a good analysis. I want to add just one line here. That part of the process in the 20th century of remaking Chinese medicine as a more scientific medicine, what does thread throughout the Republic and the Communists alike, is that they concluded, for one reason or the other, again this some process, for some reason, that the theories that talk about life throughout antiquity all needs to be excluded from that more modern scientific, because obviously scientific means more physical, real, able to see. So part of what I believe is reviving Chinese medicine now in the 21st century and making it useful is actually undoing exactly what they did in the 20th century and probing back into all these theories that they excluded on purpose in their selection process. Again, to survive against science and to do the communist thing they wanted to do. We need in the 21st century, in order to have a better alternative, an additional alternative to Western medicine for patients that come to us, is to research again, not only develop new things, which we should too, but research again all these many theories that were excluded from the classics by artificial and arbitrary selection according to political reasons and others. So this is one of the things I try to show in the book, to how to revive Chinese medicine. I don't exactly say, I give my opinion, but everyone can draw their conclusions. The classics are there for everybody to research. There are many, many things, many people saying different things. It's not like everybody's saying the same things, but unanimously saying all the things that we're talking about connecting to heaven and spirituality were unanimously excluded in that process in the 20th century. In the 21st century, our job, if we want to do Chinese medicine, is to bring those back. Find out, are they true, are they false? Do they have merit? Maybe they don't. But this is our next step. How do we bring it back? Try to research back all the stuff that was excluded from TCM on purpose by some people that I would say at this point are less than qualified to do it. And so this is for us now. We are not necessarily Chinese. We are not Chinese, but we are very, very able and capable to actually carry the torch forward, and maybe it should not call Chinese medicine anymore. It should be called world medicine now, because people in America and Australia and Europe sometimes do it better. So Chinese, for the sake that it was Chinese in the past, world medicine, this is where we're carrying it forward, that essence of life medicine, bringing that forward.